No intro. Because listen, Arsenal have crashed out, unsurprisingly, during the entire watch along. It was obvious that we were going to miss all of those chances and concede. And here we are. We're in January and we're out of both domestic cups. We went out pathetically in both. Liverpool tried to give us a way through and we still couldn't get it. Klopp put kids out there at the very end and we got worse. And they played at half speed without two of their best players at the Emirates and went through. We are in crisis, and I don't really want to hear anybody say, "Oh my God, it's not that big of a deal. We're so and so points off at the top." No, you guys, we've won one game in like 6. We're in crisis. We're right in front of the goal, and guys are shitting the bed. They're scared to score goals. They're scared to score goals. And it's a combination of the players and the manager. But we are in crisis. We are in danger of slipping into the top 4 race and maybe even out of it. Because when this team capitulates, it capitulates bad. Bad. And we know it because they did it last season. They could not recover from one injury. They couldn't recover. They just got actively worse and worse until they couldn't win a game. And then once all the pressure was off, they showed up on the last day of the season and beat Wolves 5-0. And people were standing around smiling, saying, "Oh, we'll go again." Well, this is what going again looks like. We have the weakest mentality I've ever seen. The weakest. You have too many players out there that are unwilling to step up when it really matters and are being paid a lot of money to do so. That includes Odegaard, that includes Saka, that includes Kai Havertz. I can't even blame Reece Nelson. Reece Nelson's a fucking squad player. He's not meant to step up. But those 3, you need to hang your head in shame. That was a disaster class from Havertz and Saka. Odegaard is culpable as well because he had a wide open opportunity in the first half that he should have put away. And I said that on the watch along. But like Saka should have come off the moment that he could have easily headed that ball in the back of the net from that cross. I think it was maybe Havertz that crossed it in. And all he had to do was head it in the back of the net. And he decided to stick his leg up there and it hit off of his shin and went out. What are we thinking? What are we doing? Our defense is not going to be able to bail us out every single game. And they were really good for the entire game until the very end. So I know people will focus on the own goal. The jokes write themselves. We could not score a goal to save our life, but we scored the winner for Liverpool. The jokes write themselves. Kivior was abysmal again today. He got the own goal, whatever. But when you have 6 chances in the first half to put this game to bed against a Liverpool team that is begging you to go through and you don't take it, I am not listening to any nonsense about our defense. I had people in the watch along talking about Zinchenko. Zinchenko didn't fucking play today. Our main issue over the last 7 to 8 games has been the attack. Besides Fulham, the theme is the same, whether we win or lose or draw. We don't score enough goals, and our attackers are scared of their own shadow. They are afraid to step up and play for Arsenal. They have no balls. The cojones are not there. They're very unserious, deeply unserious, and they do not stand on business. And the person that's leading them also does not stand on business and is deeply unserious in Mikel Arteta. How on earth do you decide to make very obvious subs with 3 minutes left and we stop subbing after the game is done? We said this against Fulham as well. We knew, you could feel that they were going to score that second goal. You could feel it. It was obvious. And he did not sub until the very end. Why is it that you can't figure out to sub in players at the right time? Why do you wait for the game to go before you sub? Why? Why do you wait? Why do you wait? I don't get it. Today was so obvious. Like, I could have woken up, and if you would have said, "Jessica, how do you think the game was going to go?" I could have told you, we will have loads of chances. We will fluff our lines, and then they'll come down one time and score. Oh, and it's on a set piece, because the first thing that goes when we're not confident is our set piece defending. I don't know where that's come from, but that's like a new thing. It's like, that's the first thing that goes. Deeply, deeply unserious club. And the ramifications of having a summer window where you spent 200 million on players and got worse, you didn't buy an attacker or a midfielder, you bought Kai Havertz, is it rears its ugly head almost every single game. Because either the midfield is imbalanced or the attack can't attack. It's all connected with the fact that you spent 65 million on a player that we did not need. And so now we're in the January transfer window, and we probably need 2 or 3 attackers if we're honest, because this is very revealing to me. I don't think these players can be relied upon. Not up front. Not Saka, not Martinelli, not Havertz, not Jesus, not Nketiah, not Odegaard, none of them. Some of them can complement a better group, but they cannot be relied upon. Let's be serious. They're not the guys. They're not going to get you over the line because they're shitting the bed. Shitting the bed. They look so distraught, like they're reading Twitter like I do. They're sitting on their fucking phone going, oh my God, Arsenal hater number 230 says I can't score goals. Get off your phone and score. You're being paid to do it. Put the ball in the back of the net. Deeply, deeply unserious behavior. I don't know where we go from here because we're out of both domestic cups in January and we are sliding in the league. It could get worse before it gets better. It really can. But for everybody that was sitting there a couple of days ago on my fucking neck because I was saying that, we should start questioning some of these things, I hope you see it now that this is unacceptable. It just is. We are not serious right now. We're not serious. We're not. The manager's not serious. The players aren't serious. No one's serious. So I don't know what this season is going to look like, but for everybody that's like, well, we shouldn't buy an attacker. We shouldn't buy this. We shouldn't buy that because of the summer plans. By the time we get to the summer, we don't know where we'll be. We could be in the Europa League fucking spots. And yes, I'm serious. Yes, I'm serious because this team has not turned around their bad form from 3 games ago. They haven't been able to get their head out of their ass. West Ham broke them. We ended the Liverpool game feeling very confident that we were going into a run of fixtures that we could win. We shit the bed against West Ham and we haven't recovered. We haven't recovered. Why have we not recovered? Get over it. You need a goldfish brain. Move on. Because at this point, it doesn't matter who's up front. It doesn't matter if it's freaking Havertz and Reece Nelson and Saka, or if it's Martinelli and Jesus and Nketiah. It does not matter who's up front, you guys. It doesn't matter. We are in the spiral where it doesn't matter who's up front. They're not scoring goals because they are deeply unserious and they're being led by somebody who is also very unserious. It's ridiculous. Like, I don't even know what to tell you guys. We're going to do player ratings, but shock and awe, I'm not going to give anybody a good score except for Gabriel and Saliba and Declan Rice and Ramsdale. Those are the only players that are going to get good freaking grades. And Jorginho. That's it. Are we shocked that the best players on the field again were our defenders? Our DMs and our freaking center backs? It's always them. They can't carry you forever. Step up. Stand up. You're wearing the badge. You're an Arsenal player. Step up. Like, I'm getting tired of watching these silly-ass performances where people are telling me that we played good and we're dominant. We were dominant, but it doesn't matter because we've watched this team be dominant, and our biggest issue is we cannot put the ball in the back of the net. Remember when we played against Spurs and everybody made it about David Raya and Jorginho? The first half against Spurs was the same as the first half today. We were picking it off of them and making them make mistakes, and we could not put the ball in the back of the net, no matter how simple they made it for us. They're basically putting it on a platter and saying, score a goal, and we couldn't do it. These guys are gun shy. They're scared to step up. And quite frankly, I'm sorry, but Thierry Henry could have come out of retirement and not ran in years and could have probably scored today. They don't have it. They don't have it. And I don't know what it is, but it's it. It's the thing that Ian Wright had. It's the thing that Thierry Henry had. It's the thing. They don't have it. The thing that Alexis had. They don't have it. They don't have that dog in them. They don't. They're shy. They're scared. They're afraid of their own shadow. And so I don't know what we can do from here. I am I am on the cusp of writing this shit off. Because I already said if we don't win a domestic cup, it's going to be very difficult for us to win any other competition. Because the Champions League is much harder than Arsenal fans think it is, because they haven't been there in a long time. And they think that because they're good in the Premier League, that it's going to translate to the Champions League. It doesn't. And in the Premier League, we have already lost too many games. We are on track for like 85 points if we only drop 6 more points from now until the end of the season. We are not winning the league with 86 points because we're not even going to make it to 86 points. I genuinely don't think people get how bad we've been in December. We have literally from, I don't know, Villa till now ended our season. We needed to be much better in this period, and everybody has let the club down. It's not just Mikel, it's not just the players, it's everybody. They need to go back to the drawing board and see where they made a mistake. And I think if you look back to the summer window, you'd probably see that that's probably where it started. But somebody wanted to be fucking clever and take 65 million pounds and put it on a player that neither solved our attacking issue or our midfield issue. And I think a lot of our problems stem for that shit. So let me see what you guys are saying. Like, because there's 400 of you guys in here, and now I'm like, I haven't even looked down, not once. But I had to get it off my chest because I'm tired of every single time we bring up anything about this manager that it's always met with like ferocity of like, the only reason why we're talking about a title, we may have been talking about a title with Mikel because of Mikel Arteta last season, but we are not talking about a title this season because of him too. So I said by December, we'd know whether or not he was the guy. And this is not a blip. And I don't think we have the guy. I don't think we have the guy. You cannot be out of both domestic cups in January. You just can't. And the way that we went out was pathetic in both. And we're sliding in the league. The only thing we have to look forward to is the Champions League. And we're in January and they won't even buy players because they want to hold on to Nketiah, because they want to hold on to Emile Smith-Rowe, somebody who came on with 3 minutes to go and the game was already done. Unserious. Super chat from Yuri says, time to talk about the coach. Oh, it's forbidden. You can't even talk about Mikel Arteta because otherwise you're just toxic. Like, are we not all watching the same thing here? Like, come on now. Jamal, thank you so much for your super chat. Says Arteta has run out of ideas. This is a trend, not a blip. I said that. I've been saying that. Like, this is not using your squad, playing players while they're injured, not being able to manage the game while it's happening, relying upon guys like Eddie Nketiah, making stupid signings. All this shit is like, we've done this already. We've had these conversations, but because we almost won the league last season, we can't even talk about these things genuinely. And it's bad. Like right now, it's bad. We genuinely can slip beyond the title. Like, to me, we're already out of the title race. Like, we've lost too many games. And the likelihood of us losing more games than Liverpool and Man City is very high. So as negative as it sounds to talk about it in January, you can lose the title in December. And we have done that. This team is not it. They're not stepping up. Part of it is the coaching, and some of it is their own personalities. They don't have that dog in them. They don't have that. They looked like they were going to a funeral today. The looks on their faces was like, damn, are you going to go play for Arsenal at the Emirates? Or are you going to somebody's funeral? Is somebody blackmailing you into being here? Blink twice if you're okay. Are you being held hostage? You're playing for Arsenal Football Club. Step up, Nonsense. Absolute nonsense, Tawana says, wow, no cup trophies again. No cups. SKD says the manager is lost. Rice must be vexed for joining. Maybe, I think you make certain decisions and it doesn't look right, and then it ends up just manifesting itself. I think we've spent the first part of the season trying to get a player into form, and he he's afraid of his own shadow in Kai Havertz, I don't know if Rice is, I think Rice is a strong guy. He knows that like the sun will shine again, blah, blah, blah. But you just have to look at the decisions that have been made. And, if I was a player and we lost Granit Xhaka and we bought in Kai Havertz, I would be questioning that. I'd be thinking, huh, because I played against this guy. I know that he's shy, he's not somebody that he's not it, so I don't know. I would be questioning a little bit why we made these decisions, but yeah. Lavon, thank you so much for your super chat. Says Saka has to reinvent his game. It's a shame because you can't sit him down. You can't sit him down because Arteta is nothing without Saka. But even like the combination of Odegaard and Saka has fallen apart. Like they're stepping all over each other. They're overcomplicating things. Like everything about this season for me is just insane to me because we had something that was working and we just needed to build upon it a little bit. And it just feels like everything is like derailed and it's just so strange. It was kind of being held together at the beginning. We were getting lucky with, scoring goals off of set pieces and stuff. And we all thought it would click at some point, but this is not going to click because we don't have the pieces to make this click. And everybody is so low on confidence. It's so crazy. But Saka is a disaster class today. It has to be said. Like he was probably our worst player today besides Kai Havertz. Like it was in Kivior. They were all really, really bad today. But, with Saka, I don't know if he's just, in a poor run of form, but everyone that plays up front for Arsenal right now is in a very poor run of form. And so I don't know what it is, but they need to spend less time online looking at people saying how they don't score goals and just shit or get off the pot. But I just think maybe it's like a little bit of their personality. If things aren't going perfect, they cannot persevere beyond adversity. And we're in a moment of adversity where we have some key players missing. We're a little weakened, and the players want to run and hide. And that's just not Arsenal. You have to be willing to step up when players are not there. And we don't have a single player that has really stepped up in our moment of adversity. Everybody has kind of flattered to deceive. And Saka is no different. And, like he has to hang his head in shame for today because it was a really, really poor performance from him. And he had many opportunities to just do the right thing. And he just was like a nonsense today. The way that they were easily frustrated by things not going their way, like being fouled or, the referee not calling the right decision. They were all in their head. There was no reason because we were creating chances out the wahoo. They didn't need to be that fucking frustrated, but there's just an era of like discontent and lack of confidence and agitation and anxiety around the whole group. And it's been like that since the beginning. Now that we've hit a little bit of adversity, it's all falling apart. So it's just it's nonsense, really. Samuel says, if we don't win anything, MA should go. Yeah, I mean, we have to start looking at him for sure because a lot of the decisions that are plaguing us right now are decisions that he made. You chose not to bring in a striker or a proper left center mid. You chose to bring in Havertz. And I just feel like a lot of our issues are kind of stemming from that. And then also this idea that we were building the entire structure and system around Timber and Partey. Timber is one thing because you couldn't have anticipated him getting an ACL. But Partey, really? Like I could have told you you shouldn't be building your team around somebody. Like our whole system is built around players that are injury prone, and I could have told you that wasn't going to work. Tommy, Zinchenko, Jesus, Thomas Partey, they're all going to be out. They're all going to be out. So I don't know what Arsenal are going to do, but our season is falling apart. It has fallen apart. It's collapsed. It's collapsed in January, and we look like we were. A team cannot just turn around bad form quickly. Like this reminds me of the Arsenal from Arteta's first full season where he was forcing Willian into the team and it took until like December for him to change things around. And the one thing that he doesn't have the benefit of is nobody has brought through any academy players to save his ass this time because he doesn't bring them through anyway. So he doesn't even have any academy kids to save his ass now, like this is your mess. Figure it out. It's your mess, man. Figure it out, Michael J, thank you so much for your super chat. Says defenses have figured out Arteta's front combo. Stand around and wait for the ball to arrive. Excellent analysis. We're creating enough chances where I just feel like any sort of like competent like attack would put those balls in the back of the net. There is, to me, this is a mentality thing more than a quality thing. I think it's more about you have too many players that flatter to deceive in the moments that matter. And they're being asked to really like dig down and like save us in a moment of adversity, and they cannot do it. And at the end of the season, you probably could have figured that out. End of last season, you could have figured out that you maybe needed to add a strong personality, somebody that doesn't get rattled by difficult moments and could lead the team forward. And you did that with Declan Rice, and you have a great defense and all that kind of stuff, but you didn't do it up front. And this desperation to not buy an attacker and to persist with the likes of Nketiah and to bring in Havertz, for me, is just suicidal. But we're creating chances that any normal striker, you could put Hwang out there from Wolves and he would have scored some goals today. But our players are going through some mental collapse, and it's January. Why are you collapsing now? But this may be a little bit of like mental mumbo jumbo, but I've always said from the beginning of the season, even in preseason, that I never felt like this team truly got over the collapse of last season and bottling the league the way that they did. They've come in with no fun, no lightness, no airiness, nothing, no sense of we're going to go again and do even better. They seem like they're stuck there. And so the entire season has felt like the run-in, where every game has like a lot of like stress and anxiety around it. They're missing chances that usually miss when you're under like a lot of pressure. When you're under a lot of pressure, that these are the mistakes that you make. And for them to feel so pressurized in January, I think a lot of that has to do with we didn't bring in the right players that were going to alleviate the stress and bring in like a new vibe. And the manager has also not figured out a way to get them to get over last season and start anew. And maybe that's because he's been playing scared, like he's still in the run-in, playing so stiff and conservative because he's so afraid to lose again. Maybe it's had a ripple effect on the team because they only play well when they're free. The front only plays well when they're free and they can connect with each other and have fun and vibes. And there has been no fun, no looseness, no vibes, no freedom. So it's just nonsense. The teams may have figured it out, but we figured out we're killing ourselves now. As much as people are trying to make it seem like we're not, like we were getting into Liverpool's box very easily today. We don't have a problem with build-up. We don't have a problem defending. We don't have a problem getting into the box. We have a problem putting the ball in the back of the net. That to me is a confidence issue because I've seen Saka be more clinical. I've seen Odegaard be more clinical. I've damn sure seen Martinelli be more clinical. These players have to get over losing the league last season, and the manager needs to provide an environment where they don't feel like they're still playing last season or playing scared from last season. And we just, yeah, like it's just crazy. The mentality is just too weak for me. Samuel says, this is the best Mikel can do. Wait, this is the best Mikel can do. I will let him go. Maybe he has hit his height, the farthest he can go with Arsenal. I've already said that, like, you don't have to only move on from a manager when it's obvious to move on from him, because once you've done that, you've already probably thrown away a season. And these players are not that bad to me. They need some accompanied, like instead of having Havertz in the team, they should probably have like a clinical striker and a left center mid with a top quality mentality, a world-class left center mid. We could have brought that in the summer. We had the world at our feet. We were the best young, project. And so we could have probably brought in Barella and Frankie de Jong, any left center mid that we wanted. And we chose to make a silly decision. We probably could have brought in a striker too. Again, young, like we had the best young project. We were going upwards, and we chose not to do that. We chose to bring in somebody that had been at the lowest level of their life in their career and have to like bring them up, when the team is already dealing with its own mental fragilities, you know? And so I just don't understand the decisions that we've made because it feels like those decisions are the reasons why we are where we are. This team could, like, as annoyed as I am with this group, I think this group with a top quality left center mid and a top quality striker is totally different. But when you have Jesus, who's dealing with his own issues because he's out there talking about how he doesn't score goals, and then the next guy up is Nketiah, who's not good enough, and the next guy up is Kai Havertz, who's not good enough. And then your left center mid options are either taking your best DM and putting him left center mid, or Kai Havertz, or two guys that you don't rate, and Fabio Vieira and Emil Smith Rowe. How have we gotten here? You know, like it's so unserious, you know? It's deeply, deeply unserious. Let me make sure I get all these super chats. There's 600 of you guys in here. Make sure you guys are liking the video and subscribing to the channel. We're going to get into player ratings in just a second. Set Nessie says, if we were a serious club, we sack Arteta tonight. That was the trophy we could realistically win. Poor signings. We're definitely not going to sack Mikel Arteta. But I hear you. I mean, I just don't think it should be off the table, and I don't think it should be a taboo subject. We're out of both domestic cups very early on. We're not winning the league. I'm sorry to tell you guys, but we've lost too many games in December. Our season ended in December with just a couple of like games. We've ended it. Fulham, West Ham, and probably Aston Villa. We're like the knife in the coffin. We're done in the season. We can't do it in the Premier League. So it's just it's such a shame that all that hard work that went into getting us back into Champions League, and we had 200 million to spend, and we just did nonsense. You know, it's not even so much that the other teams have caught us up either, you know, because the other teams have not even ran away from us either. But we had so many opportunities where if we had just had the right players in the team and the right mentality, that we could have pulled away in the Premier League. We could have done so much better. It's such a shame. It really is. Yuri says we wasted 100 million on Havertz and Raya. Let's see. Vernon says we need a striker, period. But they're not going to buy a striker. We know this. They're just going to act like they're too cool and like, oh my gosh, we're just going to wait because we shouldn't panic. We are in panic stations right now, you guys. The season that is happening right now is falling away from us right now, you know? Samuel says this is the easiest game of the season, no win. And Samuel says this is the best Mikel can do. I will let him go. So yeah, I don't know what to tell y'all. I really don't. We're in hell right now for real. And it like I don't know how much, I don't know what to say. You know, it's just we're in crisis. Like we are. We're in crisis. For a team that's trying to win the league and win major trophies, we are in crisis. You cannot go this many games without a win, and you can't be this ridiculous in front of goal. You know, it just doesn't make any sense, you know? And I don't think Arteta has the ability to get them back on track quick enough. You know, he's slow to make his decisions. He's hard-headed, he's stubborn, and he's drained the life out of this team, a team that was playing so well and so excited and so fun and free. He's drained them of all of the fun in life. Like he's drained it, you know? So I don't know. Jamal says, thank you so much for your super chat, by the way. Says, here, Jess, have a latte on me. We need it. We need more than a latte. Okay, I'm going to take that Irish coffee y'all were talking about earlier, but we need more than that. But thank you so much for your super chat. I do really appreciate it. And I know it's difficult. Like, this is it's difficult, you know, and like as somebody that has to relive our losses over and over again because I have to talk about them days on end, and I'm not looking forward to tomorrow at all. You know, listen, that's why we have content and stuff like that, because who else knows how painful this is than other Arsenal fans. So even though I'm devastated and I'm feeling some type of way, I am happy that I have this platform so I can talk to you guys, because if I didn't, I don't know what I'd do. Let's not be dramatic, but you know, I'd be just devastated sitting there just trying to figure out what to do. So we'll make it through together, but some difficult decisions have to be made. Some very difficult decisions have to be made. And I just don't know if they are going to be made, because Arsenal, the first time that I thought Arteta should have gone was in the season where he had us like in 13th or 14th or 15th. And then we finished 8th. And everybody was, oh, I told you so. I told you so. And I'm just like, there's nothing to I told you so on, I think, because we haven't won anything. We finished 8th, and then we finished 5th, and then we finished 2nd. And now we're really flattering to deceive. So every single season, despite us getting a little bit better or looking better, we haven't really improved in a way that's tangible. And so until that happens, there is no I told you so. As far as I'm concerned, there is we should not at this point be leaving the manager, like leaving that off the table. I just don't think there's any world where, I don't care what the positives of the fan base have to say. I don't really care what, those, I don't care, uh, get real. Like, oh, well, who would do a better job? I don't know, but he's not doing a good enough job. So I'd rather try something new than continue to do the same thing and think of a different result. Like, it's been 4 years, so we're not scoring. We don't look right. He made big decisions that have collapsed our season. Like, you spent 65 million on a player that you really shouldn't have. Havertz missed sitters today. He missed sitters today. Whether he did all right in midfield for a couple of games, but you just always feel like that signing is the problem, or we just didn't do enough with that. 65 million is so much money. And think about all the players that we could have bought, you know? You know? So yeah, I just, yeah. It's beyond just the individual player conversations for me, because I know that Odegaard and Saka, despite being terrible today, are much better than what they're showing. Also, Martinelli, when every single attacker is in bad form, it cannot just be the players. It has to be the manager and the environment. And he set up a decent environment for the defense to do well, but he's completely forgotten about his attack. And so, I don't know. But I don't know. Donald says, can you tell me why are you so negative? I don't know if I need to explain it to you, really. Was positive about what we're doing right now? What should I be positive about? I from the very beginning, even when we weren't playing that well, I tried to be as positive as possible. Anytime I said anything negative about Havertz, I got killed. Anytime, anything, and I saw the progress that we made from the first couple of games to the Brighton and Wolves game and stuff like that, but we were still flattering to deceive in front of goal. And, I talked about needing to move on from Thomas Partey, and people killed me about that. But I'm like, listen, he's not going to go through the season. And now look at where we are. He's not here. Jesus is not here either. Zinchenko is injured again. Tomiyasu is injured again. Like, what am I meant to be positive about? We haven't won a game in like 6 games or something like that, 5 or 6 games. I don't know. We haven't won a game. We don't look like winning any games. Like, what is there to be positive about? We're out of 2 domestic cups already. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I didn't grow up in the Emirates era. I didn't. Like, so my vision of Arsenal is not playing good football and finishing 4th and winning an FA Cup here and there. It's not. Like, this team doesn't have the balls. The manager and the players do not have the balls to win major trophies at Arsenal. They don't have it. I can tell you that right now. They don't have it. They need other players. Like, some of the players that we have need other players around them to be those guys. Like, and that doesn't, like, if Pires and Ljungberg and them did not have Thierry Henry, they're not winning anything, because you have to have players that do it. You have to have those guys in your team that make everybody else better and don't take a day off from performing and stepping up. The players that we have right now, they're good, but they need other guys around them. They just do. It is what it is. But they also need a manager that can get the most out of them and create a winning environment. I don't think we've done that. I don't think we've done that. So again, I'm not sure what I'm meant to be positive about, and why I can't be negative after we got, like, I'm just feel like I should be able to be negative right now. And nobody should tell me anything other than that. Because I'm looking at the comment section, and everybody else feels like, a lot of people feel the same way I do. And so we need to stop this charade that we're happy, like, or we're feeling confident about what we're doing. I think a lot of people from minute one, even in preseason, we were talking about how it didn't look right or it didn't look great. I gave it time because I'm a patient person and I want to make sure that, like, when I, like, because I've went Arteta out before. So I don't want to go Arteta out before I actually really feel it and think it through. So I've been patient. I've given Havertz time. I've waited for it to click. I've waited for all that shit. And right now I'm pissed because I care about domestic cups and I care about winning trophies, and we're not going to win any trophies this season. Like, we're just not. This team doesn't have it. Levon says Arteta has favorites. Tierney was great backup. He has favorites. I do agree with that for sure. Is Tierney great backup? Not necessarily, because with Tierney, you have the same problem that you have with Tommy and these guys. They're never available. So, building your squad around injury-prone players, we just like Tierney more because Tierney is Tierney. I think that's more than anything. But he does have favorites. I agree with that for sure. So yeah, but McChronicle says, just read the tweet. Which tweet? Is it bad? What tweet? Let's see if I'm missing anything out here in the ether. Let's see. There's nothing really going on. I don't even want to hear their little press conferences, and I don't want to hear anything because I don't know. Arteta asked about signing a striker. What I asked is that the supporters is stay behind the team. See, Arteta was asked about signing a striker, and he said, what I asked the supporters is they stay behind the team. Okay. Arteta on Gabriel Jesus, hopefully it's not anything big, but we had a scan and we couldn't take the risk. It could be big, hopefully not. Arsenal have scored 1 goal from 6.47 XG over the last 3 games. That is catastrophic. Let's see. Arteta said, I haven't seen a team in the past 6 months that has generated what we have done against them. We haven't capitalized. When my team plays like that against probably the best team in Europe right now, what can I do but stick by them? Shut up. No, I'm sorry, Arteta, please stop the nonsense. Like, what you're doing is not working. This whole like charade about we played well, but we didn't capitalize, to just stick behind the team. I think the fans, obviously, in the Emirates are going to be quiet and nervy because you've made big decisions that haven't paid dividends. The fan base, for the most part, in the Emirates are not behind the Raya signing, and they're definitely not behind the Havertz signing. We're not playing well, and we're flattering to deceive. So, the fans are going to turn unless you get your shit together. And so telling the fans to get behind them when you're being asked about buying a striker is so ridiculous. Like, what I really want to say is just something that I'm just not gonna do it. I just can't. I'm just tired. I really am. Like, that is just nonsense. Like, he has to be able to say we're not good enough and we haven't finished our chances, and he has to be more cutting than that. Like, he cannot just be, well, we created the chances. So it's like, get out of this scientific aspect of the game. Like, you're not a fucking professor. You're not a fucking scientist. You're a football manager, and you need to start winning fucking games because it's turning, and it's turning quickly. The Emirates is already quiet. It's not too long before they're shouting, get out. You're not going to have as much time as Wenger did. We know that. They don't like you as much. Be serious, and you haven't won anything. So yeah, he's telling us to get behind the team. It's like, okay, like, people have been very supportive of some of these decisions that you've made, you know? It's not their fault that it's not going right, But yeah. I stick with the team. And the thing is like, I actually like the team more than I like Mikel Arteta. I like the players more. I like the players much more than I like Mikel Arteta. So my support of the players is to ask whether or not there's a manager that can do a better job than you. That's my support, because I like the players more than I like Mikel Arteta. I think they're better than what Mikel Arteta is getting out of them. And so that's my way of supporting. I don't know what to tell you, you know? And he's gonna get all edgy and stuff with the fans and the media. I can already tell because his back is up. But you've made these decisions. Like ultimately, all of this falls back on you. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Base God says, how can you put this on Arteta? The reason why I can put this on Arteta is because it's not a one-off. It's not a one-off. We've been like this for, I think the formula is very simple. So I'll just break it down like this before we get into the player rating. If it was a one-off where we went into a game where we played them off the park, but we just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net, that's on the players. That's not on the manager. But we played against Wolves, Aston Villa, Brighton, Liverpool, West Ham, Fulham, and now Liverpool again. That's 7 games where we've been speaking about the same things. We're not clinical enough in the final third. We're not clinical enough in the final third. 7 games where we've been talking about this. So no, his game plan wasn't wrong, but he hasn't figured out a solution. And the solution isn't always changing the players. It's changing their mindset, relieving the pressure from their shoulders so that they can put the ball in the back of the net. Whatever he's doing is not enough because we know these players can score goals. At least we know Odegaard and Saka and Martinelli can. But the fact that every single attacker, no matter who it is, whether it's Havertz, Jesus, Nketiah, Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli, or Reece Nelson, none of them can score goals, and they're all flattering to deceive. It goes back to the manager. Now, if you sit there and you say something like, well, we just don't have the players and they're not clinical, so we need a striker. Who decided not to buy a striker in the summer? Who did that? Who got all the credit for the summer window when everybody was saying that it was really good? Who was getting all the credit? Mikel Arteta. So either we don't have the players because the manager didn't get those players, or he has not solved a problem that has been there for 7-8 games now, or let's say 7 games. He hasn't solved it for 7 games. So it is on Mikel Arteta in some capacity. Now, again, I think the players are better than Mikel Arteta. What I mean by that is I think the players with a better manager gets better results than Arteta with different players, because no matter who he has, he cannot get the attack to attack. This is the 3rd season where our attack flatters to deceive. We've had 1 good season of attack. Every other season under Mikel Arteta, we've been having these conversations about not scoring goals. And again, if the problem is that we don't have a clinical striker, somebody made the big decision not to buy a striker in the summer. So yes, it does fall on Mikel Arteta. The players have to look at themselves 100%. They have to look at themselves. But it all comes back to Mikel Arteta, because he sat up there in the press conference before this game and said that he knew that last season's goal scoring was a fluke and that it was a one-off and that those players would never replicate these numbers. And if he knew that, then why on earth did he decide to buy Kai Havertz instead of a left mid that was going to help us score goals, like another creator, or an attacker? It all falls on Mikel at the end of the day. So I don't really I see that your comment, you're like, I see what you're saying, but when it's a consistent problem and the manager hasn't found a solution, I start to think it's more him than anything else. Latte, thank you so much for your super chat, says Arteta out. He's backing the wrong horses. Eddie Kai spent 70 million on goalkeepers when we had Emmy in the club. Saka, no backup right wing, etc. Subs are terrible. I think a lot of this is going to fall on Mikel, to be honest, but I don't know if you even question. People really do sit here and try to pretend like he's infallible. He's not infallible, guy. He's 4 years into his first job as the manager. Of course, he's making mistakes, but he's making it on our time. And we're Arsenal. We're Arsenal. We're not like fucking Brighton. We need to do much better than this. Much better than this. Ramsdale was really good today. He is at fault for nothing. He made, I think he made a really good save. His playing out from the back was really good. It's not his fault that Kivior decided to head the ball in the back of his own net. And then the last goal was just one of those where we were pushing, and we conceded. He did nothing wrong today. So I'm going to give him a 7. It was nice to see him with a little bit of confidence, and today cannot be blamed on him, because I don't know what else he was supposed to do. I really don't know. The defense cannot continue to bail out the attack. So I thought he was good today. I didn't really see anything wrong with what he did. Let's move on. Saliba, another one that I thought played really well today. I think, again, no help. Gabriel and Saliba cannot continue to save the team. At some point, the attack needs to start scoring. I think if you score a couple of goals and you put it away, none of those things happen at the end of the game. We just capitulated because we were shit, So Saliba doesn't deserve this. Like, he saved us a couple of times as well. They kept Liverpool pretty quiet. They didn't really get any joy unless they were going up against Ben White and Kivior. But other than that, through the center, I don't think him or Gabriel made any errors. I don't think they deserve to be on the losing end. I think that they've been let down significantly by the same players over and over again. And the manager, like, I don't know what to tell you. They're both going to get a 7 from me as well. Ben White, another poor performance, I thought, from him, or he just doesn't look like himself, and I just don't know what to do at this point. We don't have somebody else, and Arteta refuses to even try Rule Walters, so he's just going to continue to do this. People are just getting by him really easily. In the attack, he's not really overlapping or providing any sort of support for the right-hand side anymore. He doesn't look fit. He doesn't look confident. What he did with Curtis Jones on the side was just like petulant, and just like, I just felt like there was just a level of anxiousness and petulance amongst the team today. I didn't feel like we needed to be like that. We were creating chances for fun. And so Curtis Jones nicked it by you, and all you had to do was just like go defend, and you shoved him down. Like, what were you thinking? Like, he really just was annoying to me. So 5, but we have no other options, so what are we going to do? Let's see. Kivior, really poor performance. He just looked like everything was a really hard decision for him. Everything was a hard decision. There was one time where he won the ball, and all he had to do was get it and pass it, and it's almost like he glitched. Like, everything was a difficult decision for him. Every clearance, every pass, everything looked like he was just like thinking about it so hard, and they were really trying to expose his side, which just shows this is the person that we have playing left back from now until who knows when, because Tommy is not going to be back for a long time. Zinchenko, who knows, with the calf injury, and he's just devoid of anything. 4, like, he was really bad. Like, I don't know. Michael says Kivior 4. Andrew says 2. John D says the Kiwi is not right. I like that. That's kind of funny. UK says Ben White will be back to his best when Ramsdale gets back in the first team. That shouldn't even, if he needs his best friend in the first team for him to play well, then get him out. But I don't know what to tell you. Aha says, by the way, Jess, Klopp brought on 2 youngsters and they went on to score 2 and win. I said that. I mean, Klopp was like, damn, just score, Arsenal. I'm going to put in these kids. And we still couldn't do it. They got better when their kids got on there, and we got worse. Like, there's too much going on. Like, Arsenal are a mess right now, and it shouldn't be this way. UK says Kivior is on drugs or he's drinking. Trust me. Chris is a 3. Kivior is bad. He was really poor. Akinola says the Kiwi with little experience. And Ara says Ben White has down tools. If he has down tools because his friend is not a part of the starting 11 anymore, then get out of my club. Like, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, man up. Like, that is just so lame if that's the truth. But, if he's upset because Ramsdale ain't playing, then they can both fuck off. Like, the art, he should not be downing tools. He's not, like, stop downing. I don't even want to believe that that's the reason why. You should not be downing tools. Like, it's a nonsense. Like, we're still before December, we were still in a good place. Like, I don't want to hear anything about my besties not playing, so I'm going to just down tools. Like, if that's the case, get out. Like, I don't want to hear that, because we don't deserve that as the fans. We really don't. One of the better players on the pitch, didn't really do anything wrong, made a good account of himself. Um, doesn't deserve to be shat on at all. If you're mad that Jorginho's playing, well, get mad at Partey because he's the reason why he's out there playing. But he played well today along with Declan Rice. And again, that group played well. Jorginho, Rice, Saliba, and Gabriel. They played well. They didn't deserve to be on the losing side. So, Jorginho was fine. Let's see. Friend telling me says, why is Jess entertaining that silly take? I don't know. I was just saying, like, that just sounds so stupid to me. Superman says, Jorginho, the only positive today, 3 key passes and 7 out of 9 duels won. Winning Ways says, Jorginho should be gone in the summer. He'll probably will be gone in the summer, but, like, I mean, what, like, even on this game, like, he was fine. Like, he was good. Like, I just feel like you should at least give him his flowers. Like, we do want him gone, and he probably will go, but what the fuck? He was good today. Johnny D says Jorginho is better than what he was at Chelsea, at least that. Olivier says Ben White looks like he has some non-football related problems affecting his play. He does look like that. He looks like somebody at the end of the season will find out what's going on with him. Like, he looks terrible. Mr. Happy says Jorginho 6.5 out of 10. Exactly. So, let's see. Winning Way says we ain't winning anything with this guy in midfield. Well, then we should have replaced Thomas Partey and him in the summer. Like, again, like, this is just like, we're just saying the same things over and over. Jorginho is not really our biggest problem. He's not. Every time he plays, people go in on him. And same thing with Eddie. I feel like Eddie gets the same thing, where when they're playing, it's like everything is so focused on them. But the reason why they're playing is because probably a favorite is not available and is never really available. And also because the club doesn't actively, like, they're not proactive. The proactive thing would have been sell Thomas Partey or move Jorginho on, both of them, I don't care, whatever, and bring in a midfielder that's available for 90% of the season. But we didn't do that. So Jorginho didn't really do anything wrong and doesn't deserve to be shat on today. Even if you don't want him at the club, it's not his fault. It really isn't. Declan Rice, I thought it was good again today. Always, I mean, if he basically we figured out that if he doesn't save us, we don't get saved. I shudder to think of what the Manchester United game and the Chelsea game and the Man City game and all those games would have been like. The Luton game, we know we would have drawn if he hadn't stepped up. And quite frankly, I don't want my DM to be the main guy trying to save us. I need it to be the players that are up at the top of the pitch. So he's just not somebody that I feel like, again, deserves any sort of negativity or anything like that. I think we know who are the main culprits today, and he cannot carry us for the rest of the thing, and the most annoying thing about what we've done this season is that we had such a good opportunity to take the team to the next level, and it was very obvious what would have taken us to the next level. And we decided not to, off of this, like, I don't even know, this false Havertz thing. We couldn't find somebody like Gundogan, so we just decided not to do anything and to bring in a luxury player instead. And so those actions are actually going to derail us, because if we finish lower than 4th, which for me, like, I'm starting to feel like this team might not finish in the top 4, because we're like, honestly, there's 5 teams fighting for the top 4 and we look the worst out of all of them. So if we don't finish in the top 4, then we will go backwards, because we won't have the money. We'll be in Europa League and we won't be able to attract the players. And so when we had an opportunity to attract the best players, we didn't do it. And we did it with Rice, and we didn't do the rest of the job. We just needed to bring in a striker or a left center mid. It just wasn't that difficult. The fact that they made it so difficult, I feel bad, because a Declan Rice signing is now being like overshadowed and looked at in a way that I don't feel like it should be. We made the right decision bringing in Declan Rice, but we made like almost like a decision that, like, what's the word? It like erased it. It's like it counteracted. You know what I mean? What's the word? It's like you make a decision and then it's like you do something to erase it. That's what we basically did with the Kai Havertz signing. And I feel bad. He doesn't deserve any negativity today because he didn't do anything wrong. Odegaard missed a sitter. I didn't think he had a good game today. I thought he looked anxious and like he was trying too hard, and he was overthinking everything, and he did some really good things, he did some really bad things. Him and Saka were kind of taking turns being shit. It's just like, I just need you to just create chances and relax, and you had such a good opportunity to put us ahead, and I expect you to put that in the back of the net and not hit the bar. And that's just classic overthinking, and everybody in the front line is going to get like a 2, because I'm so sorry, but like, I cannot watch another game of them doing this nonsense. I cannot. When we get to the Crystal Palace game, I just expect us to just be terrible. Reece Nelson, actually, I won't give him a bad score, because he's not, it's not, I don't think it's on him. I'm going to give him I feel bad. I'm going to give him a 4, because he did have good opportunities and didn't take them. But I don't know. Reece Nelson, he wasn't the biggest issue, but he definitely was an issue. Saka, terrible Hall of Shame performance. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what's going on with him, but just like everybody else in the front line, it just, stop overthinking and man up and put the ball in the back of the net. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, I don't know. That chance that he had almost ended the stream, because all he had to do was, he could have hit it with any part of his body, but he decided to put his leg up in the air and try to do a volley when the ball was up here. If the ball is right here, just head it in the back of the net. You could have hit it with your chest and it would have went in. It's pathetic. Like, it really just is. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I love Saka, but he's fallen off. He's fallen off. Like, he's really fallen off. Another one, terrible performance, had multiple opportunities to put the ball in the back of the net, weak shots, weak hold-up play, weak. Looked like he was going to a funeral, looked like he was sad. I'm tired of these players looking like they're so devastated to play for Arsenal Football Club. Fucking play. Like, you're at a massive club that was on the edges of winning the league, and you look like you escaped Chelsea and came to Arsenal, a team that was about to win the league or could have won the league last season. And here you are bringing your mopey clouds here. He looked like somebody had told him that his dog died. I'm so tired of these players looking like it's a burden to play for Arsenal. Suck it up. He was awful too. And then the players that came on, the first player that came on was Martinelli, looked bright, but still, again, got past his man and could not pick out a player to save his life. He's just, again, another player in poor form, another player that's flattering to deceive, another player that looks like they're going to a funeral because they're playing for Arsenal. I don't know what else to tell you. And then the other players that came on, in Trossard and Emile Smith-Rowe and Nketiah, didn't have enough time to do anything, because Arteta decided to make the subs when the game was already done. So, like, it's like, what are you doing? Odds even says Havertz get rid of great riddance. Good riddance, probably. Nimesh says Havertz probably plays like shit so that he doesn't get selected for the next games. Tawanda says the tactics need to change. The other thing, though, is like, we did some good things today by playing the ball long and playing it into the channels. We did so many good things to get in and around the box. It's just, we look like we were so scared to score a goal today. If they knew they had to shoot, it was like, they were like, oh man, I got to shoot. And then they just, this is not my Arsenal. Like, it's just not. We love like, our players love to score goals. Arsenal players love to score goals. Alexis, RVP, freaking Henry, Ian Wright. Our players love to score goals. They relish scoring goals. These players do not like scoring goals. They want somebody else to do it for them, Michael says Kai's pressing was great, though. Still a 2.5, though. All that stuff, our game plan is always spot on in terms of like pressing, where to be, our shape, all that kind of stuff. But the execution of what we do in the box is so bad that I can't even give you points for pressing anymore. I cannot, Martin says Arsenal have 2 league fixtures coming up ahead of the home game against Liverpool that they can win. With both upcoming games, and things will feel a lot different. We already lost to Fulham and West Ham. Like, anybody can come to the Emirates and beat us. because we just like Crystal Palace will come and beat us because it's about the mentality. We will have many chances against Crystal Palace. They're shit, by the way. And Michael Elise or Eze will come down the pitch one time and put it in the back of the net, or God forbid, IU or something like that. Like we are very like we could change it, but like they've had so many games to change it around. Why West Ham has gotten into these players' heads so badly, I will never understand it. I will never understand it. You know, I'm glad this break is here. Gives them 2 weeks to focus on the transfer window and decide whether or not they want to continue with their unserious behavior or stand on business and bring in a striker or an attacker or something. Something to change the feeling around the place. It looks like they need a hero. Bring somebody, you know? I don't get it. Richard says pressing is a basic thing in football and is something that gets taught as a schoolboy level. This is a professional game. We just need anybody that knows how to put the ball in the back of the net. Like we're missing basic opportunities here. Like I genuinely don't feel like you even need a world-class striker in this team. Like I said, you could have put Thierry Henry out there today and he would have scored a goal with his old knees. You know, you just need somebody with the mentality. I think more than anything, the mentality is gone. And I think when you add a player who already is low in their mentality and you force them into the team and you're trying to force them to work and they imbalance the rest of the team, you're setting yourself up for failure. I never understood that. As bad as Xhaka could be sometimes, he never hid and never seemed like he lacked confidence. He probably had more confidence than his level deserved, if that makes sense. But we needed to add more of that to the team, not take it away. And we took it away, you know? Felix says we always fall off at this time of the year. No excuses from Arteta. He needs to rejuvenate the players. Is fatigue or game management? I don't understand how you can be fatigued at this point. Nobody else is, unless some of it could be that he's ran some of these players into the ground. Saka in particular. These players all of last season never got a break, no matter what game we were playing in, they played. So could be a little bit of that. But I think it's more mental fatigue than anything. I think some of these players, they look slower, they're moving less sharp. You know, I think I think about how sharp we looked against Wolves at the beginning and Brighton at the beginning. That was not too long ago. But I think it's because mentally we were better in that. Something about that West Ham game really broke them. That's all I'm gonna say. They've looked slow and and off the pace since then. So yeah. Let's see. Social Join says Xhaka is a grown man. The Albanian Dons are different gravy. Streets, no. Well, we needed to add more of that, you know, and less of this nonsense. You know, it's like I don't know. They need to go back to the drawing board and really they just need to decide if they want to be serious or not. You know, I just feel like a lot of things we're doing are very unserious, you know. Let's see. Tawanda says we've lost to Liverpool and City and Man United with Shaka. Yeah, but you get what I mean. Like it's never been like this. Like, or it has been in some, but even like last season, it was not like this. It was not like this. Even if we did lose, it wasn't like this. This is like they lack any sort of like bite or fight or anything like that up front. You know, I get what you're trying to say, Tawanda. You're trying to blame the lineup and all that kind of stuff, but there were games where we played with our best starting three and failed to like flatter to deceive. So it's beyond the tactics in the lineup. I'm sorry, but like there's something fundamentally wrong and it's been there the entire season bubbling underneath the surface, but you know, this is where we are. This is where we are. Um Moses says, "Why don't Saka get the bench? We have other players we don't need to give game time." I mean, you take Saka off and who do you put on? Trossard, who's been demoralized, Iasara, who's been demoralized, Reece Nelson, who's not good enough. Who do you put on? You know, um, so, you know, Olivier says Xhaka would have gotten himself red carded today 100%. Boy says Odegaard, Xhaka, and Rice would have been the perfect midfield. The Patriot Gunner says, if we get rid of this cone man manager and get a real manager, maybe that's what's stopping us. I think a lot of this is again, like I said, I think that these players are better than the manager. I think they're closer to winning something with a better manager than he is even changing the team, because he's had carte blanche and every decision is his. He's had tons of backing, and he went out there and bought Havertz. And for me, that's almost like that's nonsense when you're so close to winning the title. Nobody in their right mind would have done that. And I prefer not to lose these players. I prefer the manager to be looked at a little bit more seriously as a upgradable person, you know. Um, but it's not even because I don't know. I don't know. Some people really just think that like he's doing an amazing job, and he did a good job turning over the team and getting us this young core foundation, but he's actively destroying it with the decisions that he's making now. And you know, Eddie Howe will probably get sacked before Mikel Arteta does, and I think that speaks volumes. Kasim says Arteta's substitution game is absolutely horrendous. Matt Martin says Henri, Bergkamp, Vieira, the good old Arsenal days. What players? I'm going to go watch an Invincible game after this, because I'm I'm at the point now where I'm just like, are those is that ever going to come back? Like, I think we'll win at some point again, but I don't think I just think that they're just too beholden to this project and blah blah blah. And again, like I was saying just a minute ago, like Eddie Howe will be sacked before Mikel Arteta is. Newcastle will not wait until Eddie Howe has them down mid-table before they make a decision. Like they're not he may start the project, but that doesn't mean he has to finish it. And I think Arsenal are too beholden to the idea that he's going to become some sort of Pep and he's going to take us to the promised land. And there's no indication right now that Arteta is more than just a good coach. None. And the only way that you're going to win major trophies in England is if you're world class. Like that's just it. Like nobody really beats Man City and Liverpool to things unless it's a world class manager. And I'm not seeing a world class manager. I'm seeing somebody that's almost like, you know, making decisions like he's a world class manager, but is again flattering to deceive. It's somebody that's putting on the act, but not really able to come through. I have a real issue with some of the things that have happened this season, and I'm not really surprised that things have fallen apart the way that they have, because it was so obvious what we needed to do over the summer and we just didn't do it. We just didn't do it. It was also obvious what we needed to do to win the league, and he didn't do it. You know, he played holding. Like that to me was like, I don't even want to go back in time. Blaze says, I thought ESR would start today. Arteta gave more chances to Havertz than ESR and Trossard. This is his decision. Very strange. Something maybe happened between ESR and Arteta. Then move him on. If so, you want to torture him? Like if you don't like him and something happened between you and ESR, the point where you don't like him anymore or something like that, then get rid and move him on. Shit, like what's the point? But this buying, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. Dale says owners kept Jeff Fisher for 5 seasons, and every year the Rams had a losing record. You just have to move on from this and like, or at least give it real good thought, like real good thought, and sit there and say, does this project only exist and move forward with Arteta? If you can say no, which we all know that that's the truth, then at the end of the season, when we win nothing, because we're not going to win anything this season, hate to break it to you, we could very well go out to Porto in February and that'll be it. Then you need to make hard decisions. And I don't want to lose Saliba and Saka and Odegaard and Martinelli. These players who also, they need support from better players. They need more players around them. But I don't want to lose them because the manager is acting a fool. Like, you know, it has made stupid ass decisions, you know. Concrete Jungle says our manager doesn't trust his bench. This is his bench. These are his players. These are the ones he bought. He bought these guys. These are his guys. He either re-signed them or bought them. So him not trusting them is like, and do you trust Arteta to spend more money on squad players, because the squad players that he's buying, he doesn't even trust. So it's a never-ending circle. You know, it's a never-ending circle. Dale says, I love ESR. I want to see him play. Please sell him so I can watch him play. Base God says they sign long-term deals because of the manager. RS says banking on Saka and Martinelli to each score 15 a season is sackable itself, especially when he said that he knew that they won't be able to replicate it. John says we have all these huge we have all these huge stats, haven't been outplayed and still find a way to lose. They're very low on confidence, these players. Chosen One says, Jess, do you think the right environment our players can shine again? Yes, I do agree they need a killer to rally around, but also don't think they're mentally weak. They've overcome a lot. I think there's just certain players in your team that are not going to be able to get it over the line if they don't have some guys in their team, like, right? So for me personally, I think the players in our team that have the best and strongest mentality are Gabriel, Saliba, and Declan Rice. I think those are the players that you can consistently count on to have top level performances, no matter who they're playing against, no matter what the adversity is. But, you know, no matter who else is around them, whether it's Zinchenko and White or whoever, they're going to do what they need to do. The players that I question are the other players. And that doesn't mean that they're not good players. Everybody has players in their team that are fantastic, but are not going to grab the game by the scruff of the neck and take you over the line. And we don't have anybody like that in the attacking ranks. And some of it is the environment and the things that Arteta is doing. But I think ultimately, like, you just know this team needs a top quality left center mid, and they need a top quality striker. Those two players could change the trajectory of this team, because they just need players that they can, you know, that complete the puzzle. And we haven't done that. We left massive holes in the team, and we're expecting players that the manager even expected not to score those amount of goals, that we're expecting them to step up. And if he thought Havertz was going to come in and score all the goals, I don't know what to tell you. But they just made massive big mistakes, you know. And as much as I want to individualize the performance, and we've already went through the players and stuff like that, as much as I want to individualize it, and I've already said Saka was not good, Odegaard was not good, Havertz was not good, Reece Nelson was not amazing either. I just can't help but feel like with something else, these players would be a lot better. That's it. But yeah, we shit the bed today and we're out. We're out of both domestic cups in January. Not totally unpredictable, but today was so predictable. And I think I'm happy to see the back of Arsenal for the next 2 weeks. I'm happy that we don't have any games. They can go to warm weather training and we can just forget about them for a little bit and see if the club have anything about them and whether or not they'll salvage the season with a good signing. But at the end of the day, it's just kind of really disappointing and deflating to see that we built something so good last season and we destroyed it for no good reason. And so, yeah, I expect people to be going Arteta out. I expect it to be hella toxic. And I don't think that it's wrong to start questioning things at all. So no matter what the positives say, you guys know I'm going to keep it real with you guys. Nothing is ever as good or as bad as you think. But right now we are in crisis. And anybody who thinks that we're not is just kidding themselves. So yeah. One more super chat that I saw come through from Sporty Back Boys says, if we do not bolster by February 1st, we are finished. I think the damage is already done, but they can bring in an attacker and try to change things around. But he needs to do something. He needs to figure out a way to get the players in a relaxed environment to score and win. And maybe his desperation to stop us from conceding goals and his desperation to not concede because he's so scared of what happened last season has had a ripple effect on our attack. And now they're just kind of like, you know, because they're not playing with freedom. And when you're not playing with freedom, and what I mean with freedom is shoulders down, relax, playing with this instead of this, you're not going to win games. And they've been all up here all season and nothing has been fun at all. So I don't know what to tell you, but I love you guys. Don't let this ruin the rest of your day. It probably already has, but I'm going to go and watch a little bit of trash TV because that always makes me feel better and do a little bit of work. But I'll be back tomorrow, live show at 1 p.m. And then we'll also do the live show at 9 p.m. I'm sure we'll have loads to talk about. Hopefully we're talking about some signings. Hopefully they sell Eddie and Kedia, like get the ball rolling. But here we are, 2024. Damn, you know? But love you guys, and make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel because there's still 350 of you guys in here, and I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.